everyone, and welcome to the Panda Gaming Show podcast. This is a podcast about video games, trophy hunting, and everything in between. I'm your host, Gilbert. Kate.
I'm Kate.
Hi, I'm Joe.
So today we are going to be focusing on the new PS Plus games for June 21, Sony's Days of Play Challenge, any hopeful E3 announcements and reveals, and what games we are focusing on the coming weeks. So the first bit of news is going to be the PS Plus games for June. So the PS Plus games are going to be Operation Tango, Virtua Fighter 5, and Star Wars Squadrons. Kate, what do you think of June's month?
I'm excited. I really actually am really looking forward to playing kind of Operation Tango. I love a good co-op game. I'm sad that it's not a local co-op game. Really upset that developers have moved away from doing games you could play on a couch. Because both me and my husband love to game, and it's something that we can do together. But I understand with this one that it kind of makes sense because you're a spy and he's a hacker. But I just enjoy a good puzzle game where people are working cooperatively. And this one apparently is also really sneaky, where you can kind of sabotage. Because I think there's actually a trophy for killing your teammate who's the hacker or killing your teammate who's a spy. So there's kind of a little sneakiness there. You have to trust your partner at the same time. You can maybe really sabotage him. So that's kind of a game that's right up my alley. So I'm very excited about that. I liked playing Star Wars X-Wing way back in the day, so I'm going to try and give Squadrons, a run for its money. I'm not a fighter game person, though, so Virtua Fighter is something that I will probably pass on this particular month.
But do you add everything to your library?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
You give me a free game, and I'm going to add it to my library, which is why I have games that I've never touched, like Persona 5, that I always tell myself, one day I'm going to take this out and I'm going to play it. And, maybe that's possible. I like to have, I like to keep my, opportunities open when it comes to gaming.
Joe, what do you think about this month?
It's a bit weak for me because I'm also not really into fighting games. Yeah. I have a fun story. I know I've told it on the server where I can't play any EA game with online functionality, so I can't play Squadrons, and that really just leaves Operation Tango, which did look like a lot of fun, and I'm definitely going to play that one at some point.
Squadrons does have a campaign, though.
Well, yeah, but if it has multiplayer trophies, I won't be able to get them, and I really don't feel like adding a game that I can get to 87% and then just leave it there.
You don't like you like to finish your games? I'm not familiar with that.
I like to at least have a chance.
Okay.
I may have a 60% completion rate, but I like to know that I can at least try to finish them.
That's a kind of age-old question, right? Do you start a game if you can't actually finish it? Do you start an old game that has a dead multiplayer because you can't finish it? And that really does separate the trophy hunters for regular gamers, right? My husband doesn't trophy hunt, and so he would definitely start a game because why not? Because you at least enjoy the single player. Versus that would hurt my soul if I had a game where I didn't have a possibility. Now it's fine if I start a game and I filibuster my way out of being able to finish it, right? I just never get to it and then the server dies. That was on me. But I don't know if I could start one where I didn't have the chance to at least 100% it if I wanted to.
Yeah, it's all about that illusion of choice.
Yes. So, you're right. Until the developer pulls the server away from you, I don't know how people play things like FIFA games, knowing that every 2 years, that game's going away and a new one's coming out.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But for this month, I don't know if I'm going to do Operation Tango. Co-op games, that's fine. I like co-op games. I like puzzle games. I'm terrible at stealth games. The thing
Oh, I
No.
love stealth. Give me a good, like, Thief is the best game
No.
series. I'm actually really
No.
sad that the most recent Thief game really kind of killed the series.
Didn't.
Because Hitman,
Hitman.
Thief, Deus
Like
Ex,
Deus Ex Stealth.
the ability to. Oh yeah, you
Oh,
can.
yeah.
You can navigate. You can choose how you navigate the game world. Like you can go in guns blazing if you want. Actually, it's kind of the best stealth game in the sense of if your cover is blown, unless you're going for the trophies. If your cover is blown, you have the ability to kind of fight your way out of something. It doesn't kind of be like an instant. It's not like Grandma's Footsteps where one false move and like you have to restart at the checkpoint. I love it. I love being able to be in a game and kill an NPC and then leave another NPC and he doesn't even know what happened. I like to think that's how I would be an assassin in real life. But at least I get to live my dreams in video games.
Yeah, my favorite part of a stealth game is when they hand you the rocket launcher and say, go blow up that giant robot now.
Are you talking about Metal Gear?
Maybe.
What are you talking about? I think that was a very stealthy game. I thought every section was, 100% stealthy.
Actually, a huge blind spot for me. I never played a Metal Gear game.
You could play the next one, if there is one, and you would probably understand as much of the series as myself, who's played multiple games. Yeah, it is, I forget the creator's name, but it's,
Hideo Kojima went a bit off his nut,
thank you.
And everyone's too afraid to tell him to stop.
Stranding wasn't a normal game?
Unfortunately, that's like the most normal he gets.
I think that was him dialed back, because he had kind of carte blanche with Metal Gear Solid series. He actually got fired from Metal Gear Solid 5 because it was going so far of a budget and the timeline just kept stretching. It was becoming like the new Duke Nukem. And so they actually let him go because of that, which is why the game famously has a very abrupt ending. There's no third act to that game.
Two Metal Gear
it's kind of like
Solid
the Order ET6.
That's why there's two Metal Gear Solid 5s. Because they're two parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the second one is kind of like them trying to manufacture some kind of resolution, some kind of ending for it. Stealth games are great. So I'm excited about Operation Tango. Star Wars Squadrons, like I know you were saying how you got the joystick for it because you love your peripherals. Oh no, I can't figure out flight controls for the life of me. Especially if they invert it. If they invert it on me, forget it. I'm plummeting constantly into oceans.
But you're in space, you don't have to worry about hitting anything.
I was gonna say, this is the perfect one. You're in space, there's nothing to hit.
It's true. Well, no, I will find a way. I will find an ocean, I will find a civilian, I will find a space station, I'll find something to ram because I will forget momentarily in panic that up is down and down is up.
I tried to play...
One thing
Sorry, Joe, go ahead.
One thing I have heard about Squadrons is it's the best game to play in VR for like 15 seconds until you get extremely motion sick because you're traveling at the speed of light.
Well, so the interesting thing is I downloaded Squadrons a while ago to try with VR, and I couldn't play it that long. And somebody pointed out that the reason is there's no horizon. So from the beginning, you have no orientation of which
you have
way
no way
right.
to... Yeah, where is up? Yeah. Where am I going?
Yeah, so I've heard that people will say, oh yeah, you can play Squadrons for hours in VR with a flight stick, and I'm like, I get nauseous playing it without VR on a flight stick. But yeah, so...
I get car sick constantly, so I imagine this is not the game for me.
I'm guessing you don't have PSVR.
I don't. Well, the price tag has been kind of a barrier for me. I just can't justify spending $350 right now on the PlayStation VR, or even like, $150, $200, whatever it is for something used, because the quality of the games just aren't there yet. In fact, the one game that I would love to play in VR is Phasmophobia.
Nope.
But that's a Steam game. So I can't justify getting a separate VR for Steam and a VR for PlayStation. But I'm hoping with the PS5 that they actually start coming out with some really good games with VR that can actually justify doing it. Especially if it's a horror game for Halloween.
So they just announced today, actually, that Sniper Elite is coming. Sniper Elite VR is coming to PSVR. And I love the Sniper Elite games. I'm terrible at them. But in VR, that's going to be awesome.
Doing a good stealth game in VR could be a lot of fun.
But
if they did a VR like Thief game, I want there.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I will pre-order it. I will get all the bonuses.
Collector's edition.
Midnight release. Yes, I will get my figurine. I will get my art book. If they did a Thief in VR for sure.
The only other game I can recommend for PSVR would be Job Simulator. Have you seen Job Simulator? So it's like, I'm probably wrong on the year, but it's like the year 3000, all the humans are dead, and so you're a robot, and they have like a human museum, and so you go, part of the museum is you go into these different jobs, and so there's like an office job, and basically you can like make paper airplane and throw it at the other robots, and you just mess around. It's like a 5-hour platinum, maybe, if you're being slow. So there's a little bit of motivation for you trophy hunters.
And yes, a nice shiny platinum is all we need, especially 5-hour one.
But that was a great game to play, and Astrobot is also amazing.
Yeah, I've been wanting to boot up Astrobot since we got it for free with the Play at Home initiative.
PSVR? Yes, I highly recommend. In fact, we should just cut filming now, and you need to go play Astrobot. It is.
I'll be back in 10 hours when I'm done with Astrobot.
The happiest, most cheerful game ever. I love Astro. I want to get an Astro figure. It is the best part of the PS5.
Is it a Days of Play challenge?
It is not a Days of Play challenge.
Play some Astrobot?
No. Well, it could be, actually, Joe, if you want to talk about the Days of Play challenge.
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember reading, the Days of Play is pretty much just... I think it's every day you can earn a maximum of 6 trophies, and everyone who signs up has to earn as many as possible, and then there are different tiers that you unlock, avatars and PS4 backgrounds.
Yeah.
And I think... I forget what the maximum number is, but it's a lot more than last year's, because they were like, oh, we'll set it at like 100 million or something like that, and it'll be really hard to get, and people did it in like 3 days.
Finished the whole challenge in like 3 days, and they were kind of like, okay.
So this time they were like, more. Tack a couple zeros on.
If you dangle rewards in front of trophy hunters, as a community, they are going to rise to the challenge. I know I've already gotten 2 rewards after signing up for Days of Play, just from really getting into Fall Guys this month and finally finishing off that game and earning all the trophies. Yeah. I haven't been managed to get the redeem codes to work, but I do have some rewards that I'm supposed to be able to use, some avatars or something. Yeah. It's a nice little kind of added bonus. We're all going to play and trophy hunt regardless.
Yeah.
So a little extra digital, reward is always really nice.
So are you guys big on themes or changing your avatars for PlayStation?
I used to be. I'm not really. More when it was the PS3 versus the PS4. I think I've had the same avatar character from Horizon Zero Dawn since that game came out.
Okay, and Joe, what about you? Do you like themes, or do they not tickle your fancy?
I used to change my theme a lot. Like on PS3, I would probably change it like once a week or once every 2 weeks. But then once I found one I really liked, I just kind of stuck with it. Because, like, my theme on my PS4 has been one of the ones I got from Persona 5 Royal since I got the game, and that came out March last year.
Yeah.
And icons I really don't change, because when I made my PSN account in 2008, I picked Spyro because it was the only game on the list I knew, and I didn't change it until 2 years ago when I got the redeem code for the Shadow of the Colossus ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Classic. I've been playing a lot of Spyro this week because of the Reignited trilogy, and reminding myself why I hated the flight levels in those games.
They are so fun. Can you imagine doing that on a clunky DualShock?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
that
how
was
I did
pre-DualShock.
as a child.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I figure this out at that point? I don't know. It's as an adult, I'm struggling, so I can only imagine like an 8-year-old would just burst into tears.
Yeah, they're well, they were meant to be hard, so you had to keep renting it, or you
It's
had
true.
a long time in between buying games. I know I played Tony Hawk my entire PS1 life because I could not get past the competition in Marseille in Pro Skater 2. I just could not beat the computer. So
I still cannot get past the last boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 1. I know people tell me just keep grinding that XP, you get there. I cannot figure out how to get it. It is something that I will, as a gamer, one day accomplish.
I'm not going to talk about Kingdom Hearts because I've completed the series several times.
you have all the platinums.
I'm working on my second set of them now.
Goodness. I can't play out a game twice. I mean, I have accidentally done this when I've switched from PS3 to PS4 and didn't realize it created a separate trophy list, and then I had to do it for Diablo and Borderlands. But it is a lot.
I was gonna ask.
I'll do it if it's a game I like.
I was gonna ask, how do you accidentally platinum something twice? Like, do you not get deja vu at a certain point? Like, I feel like I have been here before.
See, there's just always like new games like coming out that I want to get to. I know we're going to talk about kind of the hopeful E3 announcements and things we're hoping to see, but there's always like a new game around the corner, and then you play that kind of like age-old question: do I play this new game, this new shiny thing on like the PS5, or do I go back to that game that I need to finish on the PS3 that I liked, 5 years ago? And there's that like push and pull, and if you're or you just add it to your gamer profile and just never finish it. That's always also an option.
That's how I choose to do things. So after I know we have Horizon Forbidden West coming up, and I still haven't finished the first one.
Oh, you have to. It's a class. So you don't know. Do you know the ending then? But it's
No, it
been
hasn't
spoiled
been
for you.
for me.
Oh goodness! And we really shouldn't talk then about Horizon Forbidden West for too long, or we're gonna give away some really good story beats for you.
If it makes it any better, I don't know where I am or what's happened. So,
I think Horizon Forbidden West, which I'm really, I'm so glad to see all the new gaming footage that came out recently. That is, for me, that'll be the most cinematic game I've ever played, where it felt like playing a movie. And actually, there's that, of course, that the big argument, right, is gaming art, and how does that kind of fit in with other art forms like movies? And that, to me, felt like, you could take the plot of Zero Dawn and immediately translate it into a movie and really not lose anything. And actually create something that was, like a movie I'd want to go see. So that's the highest compliment I can give a game. It's just every part of it was gorgeous. The story was great. And of course, the main character is fantastic.
I
So finish it so you can enjoy Forbidden West.
Yeah. From what I remember, Aloy was great, and I liked the story, but I know I got stuck by a Thunderjaw, the big electric bird.
That's the best part.
Oh, figuring out those robot battles, and like what tools to use. I loved that. That was like, especially, I think I did it. I'm sure Joe has done this as well on the ultra hard difficulty. That was like such a wonderful challenge, and it was a challenge. It wasn't too frustrating. Like, the game gives you enough tools and enough paths that you can figure out how to go in a way that feels rewarding, which is really nice.
I'll get to it eventually.
You'll get to it. Well, what are you excited for the E3? What do you want to see?
So the two big things for Bethesda, because Bethesda is now part of Xbox, I just want to know exactly what the game plan is with exclusivity. Like, I would be kind of sad if they took something like Fallout or Elder Scrolls and just said, too bad. Like, it's Xbox only now. I don't have an Xbox.
Yeah.
I'm not against getting one, but I think it's going to be hard to convince my wife. We need this other $500 gaming console to play Fallout. But, so Bethesda, I want to know a little bit on, and God of War. I loved God of War, 2018. So, did you guys finish God of War? Did you platinum it?
Yes, and that's all I'm going to say, because I've made my opinions about that game very clear several times, and I feel like if I do it another time, someone's going to throw a brick through my window.
Didn't like it?
I'm going to give you the summed up version. It's a good game, but it's not a good God of War game. I don't care that Kratos is maturing. I want to see him find a bad guy with a big sword, say I want that, and then kill him with said sword, and not leave it behind 3 times.
So was your frustration more the gameplay, the fact that they changed up kind of the hallmarks of that, because it used to be like giant boss fights, where you're crawling all over gods and titans.
Yeah, it was all the big cinematic boss fights. Like, to me, some of the big God of War moments will always be when Kratos, who was this relatively, like, he wasn't that big of a person, fought Kronos, the largest thing in existence. And then in this one, he fights a scrawny man.
Well,
I understand what you're saying with that. It definitely took some getting used to, that the gameplay particularly was so different. I didn't mind that, because I felt like by God of War 3, I remember finishing that and going, well, I'm okay with this. Like, I'm fine if this is kind of where they end Kratos' story. I didn't, so I know that they kind of had to switch up a little bit to kind of add freshness to it. I think, I liked the story. I liked the tale with the son. But I am a little bit tired of the game's stories that are about fatherhood, right? We've seen this in Last of Us. We've seen this in God of War. I mean, it is a trope at this point. And it really feels like now the way that we kind of freshen up a game series is to say, well, we'll make it about fathers. And there's never a game about mothers. I'd love to play one of those. But actually, I think Horizon Zero Dawn gets the closest to that. Without giving too many spoilers,
trying to figure out what
for
that
you.
meant. From the little I remember of the plot.
Trust me, you'll never get there.
Okay.
You'll never get there.
You'll get there. It'll be worth it. But it really just always becomes kind of about like fatherhood. It always feels like video game creators trying to tell their children, "See, this is what I was working on instead of spending time with you." And
I made this one for you.
Yeah, exactly. So God of War does it really well, in the same way Last of Us does it really well. Like, they take that form to its pinnacle in terms of the story. But I could see how it's, it does feel like it's God of War through a very particular lens of kind of where video games are right now. Like, that story is like kind of 2018 in a nutshell in terms of gaming. So, and cinematically, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's a gorgeous game. I'm really excited to see kind of God of War 2 in terms of just what it's going to look like on the PS5. Cool thing about God of War 2 is they've gone now to the land of the giants. And so I want to see kind of what a battle with Odin looks like. Do we get the giants? Do we get that kind of like, do we get Ragnarok, right? Because I could see that being at the scale of a God of War game.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that was...
yeah.
That was my biggest complaint with God of War 2018, was they've gone to the Norse pantheon, which is just as big, if not bigger, than the Greek one. And, you know, there's so many. You got Thor, you got Odin, you got Jormungandr, you have all of these different things, and Kratos fought the same giant 5 times, but one time it was blue.
Yeah. Although I do appreciate that they went with Baldur. I do appreciate that there was Frigga in it. Like, they took... You know,
yeah, they definitely grabbed some obscure ones. Like, I didn't know Thor had kids in Norse mythology.
Yeah. So they didn't like, and it was fun for me putting this together to be like, oh, that must be Loki, right? Like, and you know, and just from knowledge that I had from like the Prose Edda, and being able to like figure out from Norse mythology in the same way that I felt like that when. I can't remember now. But I really enjoyed being able to do that and seeing kind of what they pulled from it.
But what are you guys looking for E3? Kate.
I would say Bethesda probably the biggest. I am really curious. I'm hoping it's a situation like what we've seen with the Lara Croft games, where there's a year of exclusivity, 6 months of exclusivity on the Xbox, and then it comes to PlayStation. I would hope that they would realize not to, kind of close off this whole ecosystem and all the users of it on, they want to make their money. But I really do want to see some follow-up to Skyrim. I know that they've done Elder Scrolls Online. It's a gorgeous game, but I want to have that single-player experience of an Elder Scrolls game. And Skyrim's now, 10 years old. So it's kind of shocking at this point that it has not, they have ported it, they have remastered it. It's in, you can play it, I think, on an iPhone at this point. But I want to see kind of what comes next in that storyline. And I want to go back to Tamriel. So I know I do have any hopes. I know it's not going to actually happen. But even if they just gave me like a shot of a title, I would be excited to see that.
Yeah. Joe, what are your thoughts for E3?
I really don't follow E3 much, just because I don't buy new games. My model is I buy them a year after they come out because they're cheaper and all of the guides and walkthroughs are out, so if I get stuck, I don't need to wait until someone else figures it out. But one thing I am really looking forward to that I saw today, supposedly Square Enix is going to have an announcement about a Guardians of the Galaxy game they're working on.
Oh, really?
That is supposedly set in the same universe as the Spider-Man game. I really hope I'm not talking out my ass on that one, because I just saw one infographic, but if that's real, that's really cool.
Rumor or an announcement?
So a Marvel cinematic video game universe.
Yeah, an MVGU. And if that's real, that would be amazing in my books. Because, I mean, Spider-Man was amazing, so God knows what they could do with the rest of the Marvel cast.
So I'm surprised they haven't done that, because, you don't have to worry about actors' schedules or, who's fit at the right time or who wants out of their contract, right? You can just throw any characters you want in it and do something almost on the scale of the Batman series, the Arkham series, in terms of just having Easter egg characters and people pop up. You could really, with Guardians of the Galaxy, really sky's the limit. I'm very excited to hear that.
It is. I think the thing that is difficult is they have to. I don't want to say compete with, but I know this was a big problem for the Avengers game. Is it's not the movie. Like, Tony Stark, for example, like, kind of looked like Robert Downey Jr., but it's not Robert Downey Jr., and I know a lot of people called it the B tier, or B-list actors playing the Avengers. I didn't think the Avengers game was that bad, but I think it would be kind of weird to see, like, Star-Lord as not Chris Pratt. But, I mean, of course I'm still going to get it. I'm still going to play it. I'm still going to enjoy it.
I think it depends on the opening, right?
And the soundtrack.
Does the video game like capture your attention at first like 15 minutes that you completely forget that there's another version of it in the way that the Spider-Man did, or even, you know, you see how many actors have played Batman, but when you jump into an Arkham game, you're right there, right? You buy it in. I mean, I know part of that, is, of course, is the wonderful voice acting that has been with us since the animated series, but still, like, I think, you know, if they do it well, you'll get over it soon.
Batman's not a superhero. Just throwing that out there.
He's just a regular
the power
hero.
Of money.
Power of money.
He has the superpower that I would love to have.
His superpower is post-traumatic stress disorder.
Martha. So, if we're looking forward to something, possibly from E3, and let's say you had to make one wild call, what franchise from early PlayStation would you want to see remade or rebooted for the PS5?
It's not a wild guess because you know it's happening, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Psychonauts 2 because that was a game series I played, I think, back on the PlayStation 1, and always loved the kind of quirky humor to it. So I'm really looking forward to that. I love something that's almost like, you know, cute little, almost like a role-playing kind of point-click adventure, you know, that kind of classic game. That's why I've been playing the Spyro Reignited trilogy. I have to remind myself that these games can be really frustrating in terms of controls, but hopefully that, like, Psychonauts 2 is not a remake, it's a sequel, so they'll iron those out.
Xbox exclusive, or am I going crazy?
I don't know. If it is, my heart will break.
I wouldn't think it would be, because Rhombus of Ruin, which was Psychonauts 1.5, was PSVR exclusive.
I didn't know there was a Psychonauts PSVR game.
I mean,
it's less of a game and more of an experience. It's like 20 minutes long.
That's what most of PSVR is.
I really, you know, you can't take a Tim Schafer game and then put it behind a paywall. So I'm really hoping that that's not
I think
true.
You're right. I'm getting it confused with something else. Yeah, it is going to be on PS5, and I'm looking forward to it, just because everybody talks about it. I probably won't finish it. Joe, will you pick up Psychonauts, or do you have a different?
Oh, I will most definitely pick up Psychonauts 2 when that comes out, because I loved the original when it came out, even though I never beat it. That was one of those games, because I was like 11 at the time, so I just started games, and I got to like 3/4 of the way through, and then something else came out. But for me, if there was just a Hail Mary, just go for broke, I would want Level 5 Studios to make Rogue Galaxy 2, because that is a great game that no one has played, but the people who have played it love it, and it ended on a very obvious cliffhanger 15 years ago, and they need to finish the story.
Me either. I was about to say, I've never played it, so this is hitting differently for me than it is for you.
Yeah, it's a JRPG where you're just a bunch of space pirates, and you just go across the galaxy doing space pirate things.
Galaxy. That's basically
yeah. It is pretty much that, but you can also collect beetles for some reason.
That's one way to go about things.
You know, I played Bug Snacks earlier this year, and I turned Muppets into bugs. There's no game mechanic that I cannot fall in love with, or I will be perfectly okay with
Yeah,
if the
yeah,
game's done
definitely.
right.
Yeah, it was the era where everything needed a minigame, and they decided that minigame would be Beetle Chess.
Okay, so were the Beatles like different characters for the minigame, or
Yes, you would collect beetles from across the galaxy, and you would enter a kind of like Pokemon battle with them, but it was just chess, so you would put them on the board and move them, and if they were in a certain radius of another character, they could attack, and whoever had the last beetle on the
okay,
board
so
won.
if this happens, what you just told me made it a day one buy. Yeah.
Yeah, who does not love a good mini game? They're the
I mean,
best.
Rogue Galaxy is on PS4,
Oh,
so you
well,
can buy it
yeah.
and not play it.
Something else to add to the backlog.
Don't give him any ideas.
I would have to, and I would be completely fine with just a remake. The Jack trilogy. Yeah,
Like Jackson Dexter, or
definitely. I spent so much time with those. It was one of the types of games where, you're a dumb kid and they're telling me to do something, and I'm like, I don't know what that word means, so I'm just gonna run around, fight people. The Jack 2 and Jack 3 had where you could be like an angel or a demon, basically based on the ego you had or whatever. Just be beautiful on the PS5, and so that's what I would die if that came back out. But I know, looking at new games, we had some previews or new games that we're looking forward to. I know we got a preview code for Dull Gray, which Joe checked out. Joe, do you want to tell us about Dull Gray?
I had an interesting experience with Dull Gray because it is a visual novel set in a dystopic, very Russian-centric world, and pretty much the whole plot of the story is you play as this boy. I don't remember his full name off the top of my head, but they call him Kier a lot, so I'm going to call him Kier. And it's basically Kier and his mother, and they're traveling from their home out on the outskirts of society to the the capital, where Kier is going to choose his career. And every time you meet people and you talk to them, they're like, oh, well, what's Kier gonna do? And you get the same option throughout the entire game, where his mother either says he's going to be a tallyman or a lamplighter. And that pretty much determines his future. And like when you get to the end and you get your final decision, the game is all like, well, since Kier never made a choice of his own in his entire life, he was a very depressed whatever you chose for him. But there is a way for him to be happy. And then you just keep replaying the game, trying to figure out how to make him not a depressed tallyman or lamplighter.
that sounds almost like the plot of Drowned or Drowning. Did you guys? Did either any of you play that? It was supposed to be a game.
Was that the one where the guy was going through like a severe depressive part of his life, and he made a game about it?
Yes, and so the idea is that it's a walking sim instead of a visual novel, but you do walk through, and at the end, you're kind of given this choice of, well, he doesn't want to live no matter what you do, but you can replay it in the hopes that he gets some kind of like resolution, some kind of ending that has like a bit of hope to it. I never kind of understood the games that require you to play it once and then have to kind of go back to kind of get the good ending, or an ending that is a kind of a positive to it. Like, I want to try to get the good ending is like my initial playthrough.
So I also picked up a copy of Dull Gray. Admittedly, I only played through it once, and I was hoping I did something wrong because it's the same two options over and over. So Joe, is that what the whole visual novel is? You just pick between those two options?
There's more to it, but I wish they made that more, like they explained that better, because I would not have known there was a third option if my laptop wasn't dying as I was trying to record, so I had to get my cord. because if you wait like 30 seconds on each choice, the kid gets his own dialogue option where he can say, I don't know. And every time you say that you meet 7 people throughout the story, and every time you say that to one of them, he chooses a different, well, I'm going to be a magician, I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to be a spy. And he has this, like, big thing that he says, and at the end they're like, well, that's a stupid job, why would you do that? So then if you do that, when you get to the end and you're talking to the chancellor or whatever his name, when he's like, what job do you want? You have all of these options depending on who you said I don't know to. But the one thing I really don't like about that is, like, they set up where it's like, yeah, he's going to have this happy ending, he's going to be what he really wants to be, and then the guy's iPad crashes and he can't get that job and you have to reset the game.
Okay, kids, don't follow your dreams. Should have been a lamplighter.
That, like, I really don't want to... Yeah, pretty much that's what they're saying. It's like, yeah, follow your dreams, but also don't.
You know, I can enjoy a stripped down game that doesn't hold my hand. I'm currently playing Gris right now, which
Beautiful.
is, I don't know if you guys have played this gorgeous game. It's basically kind of it's all about the stages of grief, and you play as characters going through it. And the game doesn't really explain a lot of what's happening. It really holds your hand. You really kind of figure out the environment with kind of context clues. But a visual novel, because it doesn't have the ability to interact with your environment like a traditional game, you need to have those options spelled out, or you're really just hiding part of the game from the user in a way that's not fun.
Yeah, like, that was what I thought when I was going for the I don't know route, because, like I said, I found the first one by accident, and I wouldn't have thought anything was going on if I was just sitting at that screen waiting. You know, it's not like there's an animation of someone getting, like, annoyed that you're taking forever to respond, or a little text box showing that things are happening. So I figured it was just paused until I chose, and then a third option showed up. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's really frustrating, especially because in those kind of games, I'd usually do a blind playthrough first, where I just, pick as I'm going to pick, see what trophies I unlock, see what ending I get. But I want to have a chance, having looked at trophies, to figure out what the other options are. I don't want to always have to have a walkthrough right open to do those kind of things. But then this game sounds like you need a walkthrough to fully enjoy it.
Yeah, if you don't have that knowledge going in, like I said, you really wouldn't figure it out unless if you were just, you've played through it twice, you've done what you think are the two options, and it's like, well, what the hell else do I do? And then you wait, and then you get the third.
So maybe this is a game you get for platinum, but don't play it for fun.
Yeah, or if you just want to go through the story, because it was a very interesting story, I will say, going through it. Yeah, like I said, I just wish the alternate endings were more enjoyable than, that's a very good option, we hadn't thought about that, let's go through it. Oh no, my iPad died, oh well.
What else are we playing, or what other new games are on our radar?
So the other one that's big came out a week or two ago would be Biomutant. Did either of you pick up Biomutant?
Not yet, just because the reviews of it were so scathing. But I mean, I know I will eventually play it, because you can't make a game with a cute little animal, even an animal that's gone through, a nuclear apocalypse, and I'm gonna play it. But I might wait for this one to come down in price, just on the fact that it seems to be kind of an uneven experience.
Yeah, Joe, did you pick it up?
I did not pick it up, but I'm also in the same boat where I will definitely play it at some point, because, I mean, the cover is a raccoon with a gun, and ever since Guardians of the Galaxy came out, that's really all I need to enjoy something, but that's not $60 worth of my money enjoyment.
It's fun. I don't like seeing a review score and saying, yeah, I'm not going to play this. But by the time the reviews came out, my pre-order had already shipped. And so I decided my intention was to cancel it and just wait to see, like, playthroughs, right? It's not bad. The thing that I don't like is the characters all speak in gibberish, kind of like Sims talk.
And I heard that there's like an omnipresent narrator who translates.
Yeah, but he doesn't translate it like, oh, my name is Badger and I want you to go kill 5 rabbits or something. He says that he needs you to go to this section that he doesn't remember the name of and kill 5 rabbits for him. And he'd be very happy if you could bring it back. But the narration doesn't match the script.
That sounds a lot like The Last Campfire. If either one of you ever played that.
I haven't played
I
that
cannot
one.
say I've played that one.
It's a game where there's like cute little guys. They wear hoods. They're almost like shy guys, and that you can just see hoods and little eyes. And there's a narrator who is constantly saying what your character is feeling, what your character is experiencing, what other people are saying, what other people are thinking. And it's a very short game, but even, you play the game about 6 hours in total length. By the hour 5, it's really wearing on you that it is all told through this narrator, because it does feel like it kind of puts distance between you and your character. It feels like you're not experiencing, it feels like it's being told to you. Not a fan.
Yeah, it's, and I'm sure it's just how far I am, but there's a lot of cutting of the action, I guess. It's a lot of, go here, do this. You get to that point, and the story will take you to a flashback. But then the flashback is kind of like a tutorial of a new mechanic. And some, like, hazards aren't explained that are in the world, and once you figure it out. And I've had a lot of frame rate drops, which normally it doesn't bother me, but if the whole game basically freezes because the frames, it's kind of hard. But we'll see. It's fun. The customization's really cool, I'll say that. There's a big crafting system, the customization is great.
I heard that the world was particularly interesting, and it was a cool concept. So it's on my radar. It's something I'll probably get to.
It's beautiful
in the next year or so.
The art is beautiful, but yeah. I've heard the platinum is over 100 hours.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Throw it in the pile. I have gotten really a growing appreciation for games that can be done in like 10, 20 hours. I do feel like there's this desire in the open world games in particular to just pad out the runtime with so many collectibles and so many side missions and so many things to do. And, they're very often a lot of the same. I just finished Days Gone, and you could have cut 50 hours out of that game and you would have lost nothing because so much of the missions were copy-paste. So when I see a game has 100 hours, unless it's like an Assassin's Creed game, like an established series that I just love, despite all of its faults, when I see 100 hours, I think to myself, so you're telling me there's 10 good hours and 90 hours of faffing about.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I actually just had this conversation with a friend of mine not even 2 hours ago because I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil 7 lately because I want to play 8, but as wacky as the Resident Evil story is, I want to at least have something going into 8 other than I'm a man named Ethan. Yeah, so I was talking about that, and it's like, while I do love these, like, big games, like, I happily spent 300 hours getting everything in Witcher 3. Because that was a very well-defined world with all of the lore and everything. But I also just really love a game that you can beat in 4 hours and be done.
Yeah. It tells one kind of self-contained story. You're brought along, you enjoy it, it's over. And then you can just sit back and enjoy the credits and go, oh, that was a really fun experience for an evening or two. And not feel like you just did a bunch of chores.
Yeah.
Red gets a really bad rap in some, parts of the trophy hunting community. but I enjoy some of those games as kind of like an amuse-bouche, as a nice dessert after playing a really long game, right? I'm just like after you finish platinum Bloodborne, like go play, Read Remastered, go play a little puzzle game, to just almost like shake it off of the because you accomplished this big giant thing. Now you just want to have just a nice night on the couch where you don't have to be 100% paying attention to the video game with like every fiber of your being, so that you don't die.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the one thing I like about the Ratalaika games, and this is going to sound really mean, but I don't mean it that way, is that they're the light version of games. Like you have Mega Man, the really hard platforming shooter, but then you have Metagal, which, if you just want to get the trophies, you could do one level and be done. Mm-hmm. There's Celeste, which is a really great but brutally hard platformer where every jump counts. Or you could play Daggerhood, which is a lot lighter in comparison and plays pretty much exactly the same. So it's like, really, Daggerhood is Celeste light, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing.
No, I think that's what gaming should be about, right? There should be multiple points to entry, and maybe you just play Demon Souls, and like you have scoured every inch of that game, and you have platinumed it on multiple, platforms. That's awesome, but maybe somebody just really wants to play a little puzzle game, right? I talked about kind of Read on Remaster, which was the game I played last night, because I was like, I just really want a fun kind of like puzzle game for an hour or two. And there was a few parts of that game that were a little frustrating, where you'd like kind of be pixel perfect in a jump, but it wasn't Super Meat Boy. Love Super Meat Boy, love that challenge, but it wasn't, it provided a little taste of that, just enough to get you kind of excited, but you weren't tearing your hair out because you just missed that one jump, and you're like, no, it was a good game just for, a Wednesday evening.
Well, we won't talk about Super Meat Boy. My problem with Super Meat Boy was I tried it on the Vita, and I think it'd be a lot more comfortable on a with a DualShock 4 or DualSense. Yeah.
I can't play complex games on like the Vita or Switch on a handheld. I need that full game controller in my hand.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna blame the game controller, not that I'm not that great. But I need that for a fighting chance. Yeah. I need that game controller.
Yeah. So the next topic I wanted to look at was games that we are currently working on. What are we currently working on the platinum for? Joe, if you would like to start.
Well,
what is your bane of existence right now?
As I said, I've been working on Resident Evil 7. I'm just about done with my first playthrough in that. But I started that one because I've put 70 hours of my life into Far Cry 2, and I'm regretting starting it, but at the same time, it was at 2% on my list when I got it on PlayStation Plus in, 2010, so I figured I might as well start it now when there's still a chance.
Those
it hurts
1%,
me.
2% games, they'll get you. They haunt your profile.
And just to clarify, that 70 hours, is that just on the multiplayer, or is that on the whole trophy?
That's just the multiplayer. I have not even started the single player campaign yet.
That hurts my soul.
Oh, it gets even worse because more than half of the single player trophies are missable.
Mm-hmm. And there's 500 collectibles of one type. I think it's diamonds. You have to collect 500 diamonds, and most of them are missable.
It is shocking to me that, granted it's an old game, but it's still to this day games in the year of our Lord 2021 that do not have chapter select.
Yeah.
It's been around in gaming for 20 years. You need to have chapter select if you're going to have collectibles.
Just give me a password. I will happily put in a password.
Well, so
right.
Talking about old mechanics, and Joe, I know you've seen this. Kate, I think you said you haven't played Far Cry 2. There is
Well, you guys are really selling me on the whole experience. I feel like I should just jump right into it. I too want to spend 50 hours on a multiplayer
Well,
I do not enjoy.
This is going to be the selling point, and I have literally thrown a controller for this. There's a fantastic mechanic that I've never seen in another game before, where if you use a gun too much, it breaks. And I'm sure, yeah, like swords, they have durabilities now, but on an online shooter multiplayer, there's no goddamn reason for that.
I've seen weapon degradation done well once, and that was in Fallout 3, when all of the guns were 2,000 years old and left out in a nuclear wasteland.
Yeah, I've seen weapon degradation in games, but not in a multiplayer. That adds a level of frustration that...
Well, most of the time there's a meter, right? Or a durability or a number you're following. No, this is... Honestly, I think it's just an boosting method. Because in the tips it says if your gun gets too old, it's going to break. So if you're just killing somebody, because the game, to finish the multiplayer, requires something like, what, Joe? Like 10,000 kills?
Probably like 10, 15,000 kills.
It's the old resistance 2 problem.
But this, so it's a fantastic mechanic. I highly recommend skipping Far Cry 2.
I'm gonna start the series of Far Cry 3. It's next on my list once I finish the games I'm currently working on.
That's what most people do.
Yeah, you've not sold me on the experience of Far Cry 2, unfortunately. You'll have to work on your salesmanship there. And I haven't even gotten to Far Cry 3 because I'm currently working on Spyro Reignited, which I will have the platinum for if I can figure out Icy Flight, which is a wonderful flight level with the mechanics of a PlayStation 1 game. So not great. They decided, hey, why have the camera work? Why have the controls work? Just get out there and do some tight turns. It'll be fine. But the game that I have spent the most time playing this this past month, has been Fall Guys.
I can't believe you worked on the platinum for that.
I did. I got the platinum for Fall Guys. It nearly broke me.
Just slightly broken.
It was definitely an experience. Slightly broken. Getting fallible, getting the Golden Guy trophies are so glad to have those done. I will say I started playing that in August of last year during the pandemic, like everybody did. I liked the idea of a platforming battle royale. I got super pissed because I couldn't get past certain levels with people up, pushing you, and it always felt like you would get to either the finals and be like one out, or you would get to you'd be one out right before the finals. But now they have squads, so you actually can play as a team, and it's really what I think Fall Guys was meant to be, which is a cooperative multiplayer experience. Because all the little mistakes in the game, all the little bugs or the lag issues or somebody shoving you, all of those things become less frustrating when it doesn't rely solely on you to succeed. They're still there. There's still a bit of annoyance. But because it's built around this idea that, you could be carried by a teammate, or maybe you have bad luck, but your teammate wins in a given race and that evens it out, has made it so much fun. And I've helped, I got the platinum, I helped a bunch of people. I got to help a 9-year-old who I normally boost with his dad, and he joined our squad, and he got his first platinum. Let that sink in. A 9-year-old's first platinum is Fall Guys, which I know a lot of great gamers struggle to get to that platinum. And this 9-year-old, by the way, the 9-year-old had already had Infallible when he joined our squad. He just needed the squad goals trophy. So it's, and then another player talked about how his 13-year-old son is so good at Fortnite. Those young reflexes, they really do make gaming so much easier when you get over the age of 30, if you struggle a little bit with that.
I'm not going to talk about that because one of my first platinums was Dark Souls when I was 12.
See, I'm sure because you get the timing down, like you that ability to just set your mind on figuring out, because it's essentially a rhythm game. where how the enemy attack patterns are. That went out the window when I turned 30, apparently. But I am still enjoying a lot of Fall Guys. I highly recommend that people like return to it or pick it up if they have it, because the squads mode, it's a really good way to like spend an evening with some friends.
Just to be clear, Infallible is now patched, so you can't cheese it.
Yes, but I just the other day we got 5 squad wins in a row. So it is possible if you have a good squad and you're doing a lot of communication. It just, again, it is always, of course, a little bit of luck. You have to kind of figure, it comes down to, which levels pop up and which finals. But if you get really good at fall ball or basketball, which is the new kind of team-based final, those wins will come.
Joe, what game are you working on right now, other than Far Cry? What's next?
Really, it's just mostly Far Cry. When I'm done with that, I'm gonna hop into some games that I've had on my list that are at like 70-80%. Like, I still need to wrap up Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. I need to wrap up Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Last Guardian, I just need to do one more playthrough. And I have so many games like that, so I'm just going to go through and power through as many as I can.
My problem with what you guys just said is there's no Yakuza anywhere in there.
Well, see, the thing is, I started Kiwami, and I got 100% in the first playthrough, except for Haruka's requests, because I cannot do the last karaoke song perfectly. I'm sorry. And also the Legends fights, I just can't do. Or the climax battles, rather.
The karaoke game, is that similar? That's similar to, like, a Guitar Hero, right? It's based on...
Pretty much.
Oh, I am
just with the face buttons.
Those. I picked up Sly Cooper a couple months ago because I was like, oh, this would be really like fun. I needed a cheery pick-me-up after finishing the wonderful story of Last of Us 2 that just like emotionally gutted me for a couple weeks. So I was like, oh, well, Sly Cooper is perfect. And there's a rhythm mini game in Sly Cooper that made me want to just break my controller in half. And it's just like one part of that game.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ms. Ruby.
Miss
Beautiful,
Ruby.
beautiful Miss Ruby.
See, I think I wanted to play the most recent Yakuza, not a Like a Dragon, but the one prior to that.
Judgment?
The one that's a soft reboot. Because I need an entry point in the Yakuza, and I know I'm not going to play all bajillion Yakuza games.
To be fair, there's only 8.
There's only 8.
There's 0 through 6, and then Like a Dragon.
Right, so you've just listed like 800 or 900 hours of game time.
There's also...
I need to trim the fat a little bit.
PS4.
So, which Yakuza games will give me the Yakuza experience without signing my life over to Yakuza?
My favorite so far, and I'm only halfway through 5. But my favorite so far is either 0, Kiwami, or Kiwami 2. Any of those first 3. Amazing.
Yeah, I've heard those are the best of the series.
Kiwami.
Yeah, until you get to like 6.
I've heard it is like... Because 3, 4, and 5, they're just remasters. They just increase the resolution, and they're very much PS3 games, which there's nothing wrong with most PS3 games. But after playing Kiwami and Kiwami 2, you realize that there are generations for a reason, as Sony would say. I would start with 0.
That's kind of why I need to finish Bloodborne before I jump into the new Demon Souls. Because I know if I leave the frame rate of that series and go to the new frame rate where it's like everything's running, I'm going to be so confused. And I'm going back to Bloodborne. I'm like, what is this trash? Like I need to work my way forward in time so I appreciate the current game I'm playing and not be really frustrated by how certain mechanics are built on, later on in the series.
I will say, though, for something that came out pretty damn close to the launch of the PS4, Bloodborne runs beautifully.
I wouldn't know. I haven't gotten that
That's
far.
true. But I'm sure it's not going to run as smooth as the PS5. Those loading times on PS5 are mwah.
I'll have to try it again.
Love it. Gorgeous. Everything runs so smooth and fast. I played Control on PS4 and platinumed it in August. And then when the PS5 came out, I played it on the PS5 and it was like, oh my god, I wish I had waited. Because just everything ran so much smoother in terms of the frame rate.
Question then for both of you. With the PS4 version and the PS5 version, I don't think you can do this with Control, but Spider-Man, for instance, you can basically auto-pop the Platinum if you have the Platinum on the PS4. How do you feel about that? You're fine with it?
I'm fine with it.
I don't mind it. I did it with Spider-Man mainly because I really didn't want to play through Ultimate difficulty again. But I will definitely play through on the remastered at some point when I am in the right mindset and I just need to mindlessly swing around New York.
I wish PlayStation, did not do that. I don't think Xbox does that. Where they just had a single, trophy list for every game, regardless. It's how I found myself unnecessarily having to platinum Borderlands 2 twice. Because I started on 1 and then I wanted to play on the PlayStation 4, which it did run nice. It was prettier on the PlayStation 4. I don't think it's necessary, but if this is, the hellscape that Sony has wrought, then by all means, go out and earn your trophies, folks. We all just kind of have to play in the world that they have built for us.
Definitely. Well, I'm just going to throw one more plug in that you guys should both pick up, Yakuza 0. It's currently on sale for $4.99 with the Days of Play sale. Yeah.
Wait, you're telling me you like Yakuza? Once,
I wouldn't have been able to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, I know I told the story a bunch, but I have the motivation to get to Like a Dragon because my wife bought it for me. I don't think she realizes that some games can take well into 100 hours. So, as soon as I finish Far Cry...
Especially when there's 6 of them.
Yeah.
The burden of
But
being a trophy
speaking
hunter.
of trophies, I did have a game, and we'll see how this goes. We'll give it a shot. I have a trophy list pulled up. And I believe both of you have at least played this game. I'm going to read some of the trophy names. I will start with a more obscure one and give it a second. You guys, you're guessing the game.
Are we guessing the game that the trophy came from?
Oh, I like
I'm
this.
going to feel really bad
Oh, okay.
if
We'll see.
you guys have not played this, but I'm very positive that you both have. And to keep it fair, and this might be a little bit of a hint, to keep it fair, I'm not going to include any DLC. Alright, so
Okay.
So it has DLC. We know that, Joe.
Alright, well that cuts it down by like half.
First trophy name is Snappy Dresser. Any ideas?
Is it an open world game?
It is, yeah.
Is that
Wow, we're going right for a guess. It is
Watch
not
Dogs?
Watch Dogs.
I just know that there's a trophy for like getting so much like clothes in that game. Snappy Dress. All right. So it's an open world game. Is it for the PS4?
No. Go ahead.
Is it? Joe, do you have any questions?
Alright, so I'll provide you with
No,
the
I'm
second
still
trophy.
thinking.
The second trophy name is the scientific method. It is Spider-Man.
Oh, is this Spider-Man?
So if you look at the trophy
Spider-Man.
list, some of them are called arachnophobia. There is Spider-Man About Town.
That would have gotten for us.
Cats Out
Way
of
to
the
get it
Bag.
in scientific method.
Friendly.
Gotta love the classic I Heart Manhattan.
Knocking down King.
Yep.
So
Great
that
boss
one,
fight, too.
Yes.
Good. I like a game that starts with a boss fight.
We
Just throws you
can
in.
pull a second one if you want, or we can wrap it up for the night, whatever you guys prefer. All right.
I'm down for one
This
more round.
one I am.
Yeah. Hit me. I need to redeem
This
myself
one,
because Joe got that one.
Don't know if you both played it, but I'm gonna take a pretty good guess that at least one of you has. This might be more in Kate's wheelhouse. Just give me 1 second to pull up the list. I will narrow it down to keep it. It is a continuing franchise. Okay, so the first trophy is Secret Meeting.
Is this a game based on a book?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. It just sounds very much like Council of Elrond. And I was like, I know I've played a lot of versions of Lord of the Rings games over the years. Secret Meeting. A PS4 game. Don't know.
Alright. The second one is going to be Falling from the Sky. Nothing. This one's going to be harder.
These are so generic sounding though. I can think of a bunch of games that have something
Yeah, I got
similar to
nothing.
this.
Alright, let's pull up one that might help. Share the Wealth. And
Nothing.
Guillotine.
Oh, Assassin's Creed Unity?
Is Assassin's Creed Unity. The
Unity,
best Assassin's
okay.
Creed, some would say.
Guillotine definitely gave it away. That
Well,
is.
so I figured Falling from the Sky would... It could be a couple things.
It really
but
could.
You assassinate, so...
Mm.
there was also Ransacking Versailles.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
what you
thinking
got.
it was an Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed,
that
but
was
there's so many of them.
But we'll pick up the game again next time. But I think that is going to wrap up our show for today. Thanks for listening. Remember to check out the Pandas with Bombs Discord server for all of your trophy hunting needs. We like to drag you into things like Yakuza and Far Cry 2. Remember to connect on your favorite social media platforms. We are Pandas with Bomb on everything. I am your host, Gilbert. Thanks again to our fantastic co-hosts, Kait and Joe. And thank you to DigZ17 for our logo. And thank you to our video editor, Chakotay, for providing our video footage. Kait, anywhere you would like to plug?
I'm just gonna plug Pandas with
Nope.
Bombs again.
Joe, anywhere you... yeah. And Joe, anywhere you'd like to plug?
I don't have many social medias, but you can find me on Twitch at Platinum King 2000. I try to stream every week when I can, and I am currently playing through every Soulsborne game in order. I'm about a quarter of the way through Demon Souls, and I've died a lot, so it's going to be a fun ride.
It's always fun. I do try and stop in every time you stream. But thank you again for joining us. Kate, Joe, thank you for hanging out. And until next time.